When Yeshua entered Jerusalem on a day that was later to be called Palm Sunday, I'm not even sure whether the Bible is correct to call it a Sunday, but it was a Palm Day in my own mind as I look at issues more theologically than biblical. And the people who received him into Jerusalem were crowds of old people and young and children, I suppose. That's the kind of picture I would paint into the minds of my listeners in the congregation when I was still in the pulpit. And I want to say to you now, that welcome, that heralding him into Jerusalem was not organized by some Jerusalem Herald, Judea News, or anything like that. The Bible says it was spontaneous. But I also want to say, I don't think exactly spontaneous, because people would have come with different kinds of leaves, tree leaves, and so on, to welcome him. But they came with palm trees, leaves, which means they had been a word of mouth organization on the ground, that a more fitting welcome would be the waving of the palm tree leaves as the Son of David finally enters Jerusalem. Now, this is my picture of the day, and the Bible supports me, attests to that. Now, I'm saying to you that when many world leaders make an appearance, they don't call people for photo ops to come and take photo. People voluntarily rush to them to take photo ops with them. I've never taken photo ops with I've tried to imagine me in a photo op since this morning. I cannot remember. My memory does not serve. And very interesting, the photo ops I would take would have been of people who really affected me very closely, not because they were famous, not because they were the most revered people in the world, but had touched my heart in some ways. One day I will tell you which photo op did I ever take. And that photo op was incidentally in 1984, not with Jesse Jackson, who had come to the General Conference of the AME Church then, and later came back again in 1988, and on both occasions I was there. It was not with those people. But one day I will tell you exactly with whom did I take a photo op. Now, I can imagine if Lieutenant General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi had known that his last appearance before the ad hoc committee of parliament would make another such great impact in the imaginations of the people and the hearts of the people. Because, by the way, the heart has got its own imaginations, not only the mind. I mean, if you're spiritual, you know what I'm talking about. Had he known, perhaps he would not have dressed himself up in a modest suit and a tie, reminiscent to my mind of the days of Martin Luther King Jr. and Malcolm X. And maybe he would have chosen to come in the combat fatigue. And then I can imagine who would have rushed to take a photo op with him would have been the MK party. because they're almost all the time in the fatigue combat uniforms. Are they called uniforms at all? But then the person, Doreen Adams, is the first person I saw to take a photo op with him, because Doreen had just made a statement in that ACO committee that he had sent hundreds of requests, leads to drug dens. None, even as a politician and activist, nobody ever listened and acted upon that. When I was still in my house at Mkelele, drugs were abounding and cables thefts were the order of the day, including my cable, my house cable. And a member of the labor union advised me to go to Vereeniging to go and talk with the higher ups at some Vereeniging headquarters of police. Indeed, I went there. Everyone was taken to the upmost man, who very graciously received me. And when I had laid out my story, he said, we will be coming into that extension from Kelele in busloads in a few days to come and take out all that. And my elder brother had warned me, because I had not stayed in the township then. He said, man, never go to the police, they'll never do anything about it. Not about this incident, about another, which was very close to my heart as well. But guess what? 2 weeks gone, nothing happened. 3 weeks, I called his office. They said he's on leave. 4 weeks, I called, he's caught COVID, and nothing happened. Then I knew that the police are in the pockets of the drug lords. I didn't know to what extent. I knew that some government thugs, political thugs in government, were also in there, until better pronounced by Mkonazi on July the 6th. But Doreen Adams had to take, I think, the first photo op with this great man that will stay etched in our imagination for many years. I have posted it on my Facebook page. This is the greatest photo op ever that should go down in history. In history, even as the people decide to have a holiday attributed, named for Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi. And I, small as I am, I know it is likely to come, because nobody has ever begun the journey to uproot crime at the highest level, highest police level, and with the most sophisticated syndicates like General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi. I'm not sure if I met him, I would want to take a photo op with him, because I've never rushed to take a photo op with anybody. Maybe I would. But thanks to those who took photo ops to them, and children, our generations to come, will see this photo and frame them in their houses. And they will even replace those photos that you saw when I grew up in most homes of the Blood River War, of the Voortrekker drag, even those of a white Jesus. And I want to emphasize of a white Jesus. When Yeshua was a black Hebrew boy. And somebody said it that when I went to seminary in 1974 and preached at Wilberforce at the Vesper services on Sunday nights, I talked of Yeshua. I didn't call him Yeshua then. I called Jesus, who was black like you and I, to the students who were going to be teachers. I said, if I'm made in the image of God, I call the power from on high God then. And Yeshua, and who was called then Jesus, is his son. Then they also look like me. And then I played around this geographical Yeshua, the Hebrew boy, whom they called Jesus then, to show them that geography determines that his skin must have been even perhaps darker than mine. So next time you take a photo op, don't rush. You might be taking a photo op with a thug of thugs. Don't trust politicians for photo ops. Don't trust even bishops of churches for photo ops. Some of you do that because I know I was in the ministry of the church, so that people could see how close you are to the bishop. I knew how to be close to the bishops by presenting myself to them and discussing with them. Not once did I have a photo op. But I will tell you with whom. Right now as I speak, the second person has cropped up in my mind. These are the only two photo ops. And they both happened in 1994. Nothing ever after that do I remember. Others are group photos with other people, not with a certain person specifically, unless you expose what I'm telling you as a lie. I will accede to that if you prove me untruthful. And I might correct myself. Thank you.